Hey there, it's Melanie from Chasing Fi, and I just have a really quick update. We did get a chance to view the house. We are going to make an offer on it and see how things go from there. It's just an adorable little house. It would be turnkey. This place looks amazing. And basically, my brother-in-law, he was kind enough to go over and show us the house through video, obviously because we're in Utah and it's in Michigan. And the family, they basically just said that they outgrew the house and that's why they're moving. It is just such a cute little house. In different circumstances, like I wouldn't mind living there myself, but we're hoping to have a good outcome with it. Of course, we're moving into prime holiday time, so realistically, I'm gonna have to settle down a little bit and maybe wait until after the holidays to really hear anything because everyone's gonna be busy with holiday stuff, off work, things like that. But we're hopeful. In addition to that, we also have started to look at properties in our area. Well, not really in our area, but in some of the towns in Utah that are a little bit cheaper. This is something that we were kind of avoiding because Utah's housing market is really inflated right now because so many people are moving here and there are so few houses. Utah, not traditionally a large population state, so even though we still don't have that many people here compared to some of the larger states, it's huge for Utah to have like over 3 million people here. And that means that the houses that are here are obviously more valuable. We also have a lot of people that are coming from other countries and out of state and all that stuff. So it's pushing the housing prices up. But there is some information indicating that maybe they might be coming down a little bit. And I have a realtor who sends me listings and I told him a price range, and it was a price range where at the time there was nothing in that price range. I told him, we're just we're looking for something around 250, 300,000. And he was like, well, I'll try to send you some listings. We don't have much in that range. And I was like, sure, yeah, I understand. Well, now he's been able to send me listings every day, and he even sent me a few that were under $200,000. Now, mind you, they were condos, but still, that is something new here in Utah because, basically, if you want something that's under $200,000, then you're buying a manufactured home or a modular home or, something like that. Condos here have been around 300,000, I'd say average. So this is a change and we're excited about it because obviously we'd love to have houses in our area or at least, even an hour away would be great. But when we started looking, there was just no way. There's no way we can buy in our own town. Well, there's no way that we would because, at this point, if you want to move to our town, you can get a condo for I think $360,000 for an unattractive condo that hasn't been built yet. They're building them in this field that used to have an orchard in it. If you want a house in our town, you're looking at there's like one house that's $400,000, but all the rest of them are going to be above that. And we just see the value that we can get back east, and we know that these aren't places that people are totally flocking to, but they have larger populations. Like, for example, Michigan has a larger population, much larger than Utah, and even though it's a state that people were leaving, they are starting to see people move back there because the cost of living in terms of like the housing and also the fact that wages are higher in Michigan than like say Utah. People are moving back there, and that's why we're looking at that area. We're also looking at Indiana and Ohio as well. Really, Indiana. Ohio would be nice too, but you just got to pick and choose your spots. There are some places in the Midwest that are growing and are great places to live, and then there are other places that aren't so much. So we would like to buy in Utah at some point, but we probably will wait a little bit, or maybe we come up with we come across some great deal. I don't know. In terms of the Utah housing market, it's a pretty complex thing, in my opinion. Now, I am not an economist or anything like that, but from living here, something that I've noticed that is really interesting is that in Utah, there are so many people that own rental properties. This is another reason why I think that the housing market in Utah is just booming because people own rental properties here. And I think about, obviously, I grew up in Michigan. I know more people in Michigan than I know in Utah. And out of all the people I know in Michigan, I know one person that has a rental. That's it. But here in Utah, I would say probably 80% of the people I know have rentals. And that's not an exaggeration. And I don't know if that's just because, and obviously I was a teacher, so it's not like I was running around in like really ritzy circles, but I worked with several teachers who, like they had just held on to like their first home or their first condo or whatever, and they were renting those out. Um, I mean, a lot of people here, they got the memo that, owning rental properties is a great way to go. So I think that complicates our rental market a little bit because if you look at like wages here, they're lower than in a lot of places. And I see some people, they'll do an analysis of inflated housing markets, which, yes, I agree, Utah is one of those, like Salt Lake City, definitely. But they'll do an analysis and then they'll say, well, these markets are going to fall, and they'll throw Salt Lake City in a category with all these other cities. And I don't know what it's like there. I don't know if as many people own rental properties or as many people are entrepreneurs, but those are things that are different about Utah that I think they skew the forecast for the housing market because we have a lot of people here that are entrepreneurs. We also have a lot of people that own rental properties. So there's kind of this idea that like, well, those prices, nobody can afford them, but that's not true. A lot of people here can afford the prices because a lot of people have second jobs or they have their own business or they own rental property, which supplements their income. So that's something to keep in mind with Utah's housing market. And whether or not I think it's going to dive, I really don't. I don't think that the Utah housing market is going to go down. Now, do I think it might level off and maybe stay steady? Sure, that could happen. But the only way that that's going to happen is if people stop moving here at the rate that they are. At this point, in 2021, Utah was the number one move to place in the country. And that has shifted back. Like Utah was seeing a huge influx of people moving in a few years ago, and it's been in the top 10 for a while, but we had kind of dropped. But I think that we're seeing that again because our economy is fantastic. And to be honest, this is a great place to live. There's no denying that. I mean, this is a great place to live. It's safe, it's clean. People are, for the most part, pretty friendly. And I just think that all those things make Utah a little different than some of the other states that I've seen with similar housing markets. We also have something going in our favor that, may be a little controversial for some, but I'm sorry, it's true. Some of the larger Western cities are seeing some, how do I put this? They're seeing a decrease in laws, let's just put it that way, and they're running into some lawlessness. And that is something that we don't have going on yet. Now, Salt Lake City could run the risk of going down that pattern, but I think that it's not going to happen because of the way that our state's political systems work. I don't think that it will get that out of hand. Now, that's not to say that the other cities that are having trouble are not great places. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it can be helpful to have a balance of some sort when it comes to your politics so that there's no extreme. And you could make the argument that Utah maybe has a conservative slant that's some people would see as extreme, but Salt Lake City definitely doesn't have that. So I see like a little bit of a balance there where, You're going to have your more liberal politics in Salt Lake City, more conservative in the state, and that they kind of balance each other out a little bit. And to be honest, I think a balance is always good. So I think that Salt Lake City has that in its favor, Utah in general as well. So those are some of the things that I see happening in the Utah market. It'll be interesting to see if I'm correct or not, because a lot of people are predicting that prices are going to fall in the housing market in Utah and things like that. And I don't know, as someone that lives here, I it's I just see prosperity ahead. I mean, like, this is a great place to live. And I mean, I'm one of the people that came here because I knew that I could come here on day one and find a job. And not only could I find a job, I could find several jobs. Now, they weren't necessarily jobs that I wanted, but for someone who had been applying for jobs for years in Michigan and couldn't get a call back because there just aren't that many jobs, or there are just so many people for each job, something, whatever was going on. When I moved to Utah, it was no problem. I could always find a job. Not always the job I wanted, but that is something that Utah has going for it. Our economy is great, it's safe, and it's a nice place to live. So that's all for now. I hope that whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, you're having a fantastic time. Stay safe, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.